years ago, then you know this hatch door was kind of a big deal when I installed it in 2019 with the counterweight and the pulley and everything, and I was pretty proud of it. But all of a sudden, just this year, it's really started to deteriorate. So it's kind of hard to get it on camera, but you can see that it's bowing out and lifting up. Oh yeah, I mean, it's really starting to rot out and fall apart around here. And then this too, every time it rains, it gets a little worse. This is some sort of a fungus that's growing in there. It's trashed already after 4.5 years. I thought I designed this all pretty well, but the fatal flaw in my design was this eye bolt that just goes straight down into the wood. So the rain can just follow right down into that hole, and that little washer does nothing to stop the water. So once water started getting inside, then it started rotting away in that area. And of course, all the weight of that, counterweight is pulling on that one centralized spot. So that was a mistake. The other mistake was also that I did not use pressure treated wood. So I have an updated design for this. This door finally failed yesterday. Look at that. It just, the eye bolt just ripped right out of there when I tried to open it up. So, 4.5 years, rest in peace, hatch door 1.0. I will be going to Home Depot today, getting a new piece of plywood and getting started on replacing that thing. Saturday night is party night in the neighborhood in the summer, but I've got my work cut out for me on the porch tonight. You guys haven't seen this porch since I painted it in 21. It has become full of clutter and crap that I now have to clear out because I've got to make room on that porch for this sheet of plywood that I bought from Home Depot today. I don't know, yeah, there's like just boxes and crap and crates and polymeric sand and salt and just bags and crap and a headboard, or is that a footboard, and a snow shovel, and these, what even are these? I'm going to need that space to work on this crappy piece of plywood that cost $46, because I'm going to need to put preservative on it and like epoxy and all kinds of stuff to make sure that it can withstand the elements, because, look at that. There's like gaps out of it and shit. $46 for a 1/2-inch piece. This would have been like $5 pre-COVID, and it would have been better quality. But anyway, this is what I've got to work with. And this needs to be my workspace because that preservative is pretty stinky and I need it to be well ventilated. And also, where the hell else would I work on it? So this is the mate to this. Okay, so this down in the basement is the footboard. This is the headboard. And now they are reunited down here in the basement. These actually belong to my grandparents. Okay, that's going in the music room. That shovel is going in the shed. This door closer's got to go downstairs in the shop. Okay, music room, shed. Shed's all locked up. Shop. I'll put it in a drawer later. Kitty, what is going on tonight? Okay, that's bolted down, so that's gotta stay. That's gotta stay because the cats sleep on that during the day. That can go in the music room, and so can that lamp. And I guess that's gotta go in the shop. That's the battery for the electric shovel that I put in the shed. I'll find a place for it later. Kitty! Oh my god. Oh my god. Alright, cleared it out pretty good. Clearly this chair needs to go over here. That's easy. Oh, that's perfect. I could, have a friend over. I could sit in a rocker and they could sit in that chair. That's the perfect spot for that chair. Oh, Oh, except for gravity. Except for gravity. All right, there we go. It's up on the sawhorses. The poor kitty still has a little chair to sleep on over here. I have a place to sit and drink my beer and rock. One of the reasons I ran so many lights out here was because I did anticipate that in the future I might need this as a workplace for stuff like this, so I wanted it to be well lit. So that is going to serve me well. Apparently that was a wedding. The big party that the neighbors were having behind us, because that looks like a wedding ring. So it must have been a wedding reception. So that's why they were going all out with the lights and everything, the live band. The preservative came early this week. I think it came on Tuesday. So now I have treated both sides. I treated the flip side of this yesterday. It sat under the fan here for 24 hours, and I just did this side. And of course I've been doing the edges. I guess you can see a little bit of that greenish blue in the grain there from the preservative. But yeah, so this whole sheet of plywood now has one coat of preservative. I plan on doing 2 coats. This is my little diagram that I did last night about what the rigging is going to be like for hatch door 2.0. We've got our 2, you know, that's where those shoulder bolts are going. There's going to be pulleys down there, and basically there's going to be like a separate rigging for each half of the door and 2 counterweights. If I try to use 2 anchor points on the door, I'm going to end up using too much cable for 1 counterweight to pick up the slack as it drops. So I think I've kind of worked out the math, and I need 2 counterweights because there's a lot more slack in the cable when you're using 2 anchor points on the door. Well, after a week-long heat wave where I couldn't really do anything out here, it did cool down today. It's Saturday again, 74 degrees this evening, and I did epoxy, sitting in the rocking chair. I did apply the epoxy to what will be the top side of the new hatch door. I covered all the knots, got all the cracks and pits. Like this leading edge here, it didn't need it. There weren't any pits there. This side was the worst side, but I did get it patched all the way down. This end here where it got cut was kind of fraying at the edge, so I just hit that with epoxy too. Measured and drilled my holes for where my 2 eye bolts are going. There's our 2 shoulder bolts. Each of these is 1 foot in, 1 foot in. Now this is 4 feet wide, and that's 48 inches. That is divisible by 3 evenly. I could have gone 16 in and had a 16-inch gap. And you might think, well, that'd be more parsimonious because it'd both be exactly a third of the way in. But I think it's better to do it this way, because if it's 4 feet wide, so if that's 1 foot in, then that's carrying the weight of this foot of the door and that foot. This one's carrying the weight of this foot and that foot. So they're both taking half the door's weight. So that's why I did it the way that I did it. They are 14 inches from the edge. That's what the original eye bolt was on hatch door 1.0. You want them to be fairly close to the edge, because then you get the advantage of leverage when the counterweights are lifting it. You don't want them way up here in the middle or something. So yeah, so that's where they're going. As for the handle, I said I was going to put a 2x4 under here. I didn't have a 2x4 that was long enough. I cut a 1x4. It's going to go like that, maybe inset just a little bit so that like rain can drip off the edge. I don't know. It'll be better than nothing for keeping the plywood off the ground. And it's also something for the handle to screw into. It'll make it a little stronger at the point where I'm lifting on the door. I managed to get it done on a Sunday night here. At least the top side. It's been painted. This is Behr Marquee Semi-Gloss Enamel Exterior Paint. The name of the color is Boathouse. Very close to the shade of blue that is on the trim of the house that was picked out by my mom. back in the 80s when they aluminum sided the house. And we did, once upon a time, have a plywood hatch door, this color blue, over that basement, but it didn't have counterweights or anything. It was just a stick to prop it up. My dad did that, and he painted it this shade of blue. So this is going to kind of call back to Dad's hatch door. All right. Phase 1 is complete on this 87-degree Saturday. The old door is off. Before I could remove it, I had to stand on top of it to attach the new hardware that's going on for the new rigging. There's the other side of it there. And also affix my cables to the two central. These are the fixed points from which the cable will go down to the two eye bolts that are going to be on the new door. The pulleys on those eye bolts, and then it's going to come back like up here, over to that, down to a pulley on the counterweight, up to another fixed point. And we're doing that on both the left and the right. Mirror image riggings with 2 cables, 2 counterweights. And now the door's out of the way, I can actually get in here. So here's, I have not made the new counterweights yet, but okay, this is the old one. The gravel in this thing goes all the way to the top. So the new one will be about half as long. Out of all of this, I'm going to fashion 2 new ones that'll be half as long as the old one, and we're going to split the gravel in half. What's going on, kitty? Oh my God. Oh no. I marked with a Sharpie the 3 holes for the center hinge of the old one. I'll line up the center hinge of the new door with these 3 holes. I had to highlight them because this hunk of lumber here has tons of holes in it from all the other attempts that men have made over the generations to attach some kind of a hatch door here. Luckily though, like, the screws were really tight, and it took some effort to get them out with the impact wrench, so that means that all the wood here is still good and solid. 4:35 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon. It is 93 degrees out here. Luckily the humidity is almost 0, and I have a fan and I am in the shade, but I've been working out here, getting the hardware on the hatch door. We're using this Teflon paste. Here you go, TFE paste. It's kind of messy and looks weird. Here's our eye bolts. One of them at least. There's the other one over there. I'm going to use a Dremel to shorten that off at the bottom. We've got the Teflon paste on both sides. We've got it here. Here's the handle. 1 screw on each side. The far end is bolted all the way through. The other 2 are just wood screws. I do have my 1x4 here underneath. I countersunk in there. There's a washer under there and a bolt. We're going to cut the ends of those off with the Dremel too. This piece of 1x4 will be painted. Also helping holding on the 1x4. We've got some regular wood screws. These will be puttied over and painted as well. Got the hinges all started. They are not tightened down. Again, we are using Teflon paste around those screws as well. They're not tightened in yet, but the bolts and the nuts and the washers are on the underside. And so yeah, you remember this on the old one. You saw that top side. It was a handle underneath to pull it from below. This is not going on today and may not go on at all. That's because I discovered rust on the underside on there, which sits on the bottom or top of that, whichever way you want to see it. So water was getting in there. You know, that doesn't look like much of a crack, but water was getting in there and going down through to the underside of the door. And on the old door, if you looked, I saw it before I cut it up. The old door is cut up now, but you could see that there was wood rot that started emanating just downstream of that bottom bolt, and then it was also rotting around where that central eye bolt was too, but that was definitely a problem. So the underside handle is not mission critical for this door to work, so I'm not putting it on until I find a solution or find a better handle. 9 o'clock Sunday night, we are down to 79 degrees here. And the hatch door is more or less ready to go. Just gotta wait for paint to dry. I got the hinges tightened down really good underneath. Tighten them all the way to hell. Same with the eye bolts, tighten them down too. Same with this, give a little extra tightening to the handle. I did get the Dremel. I cut those flush under there. I cut those off. And then of course gave a coat of paint to this 1x4, and as you just saw, painted straight over this stuff here, because who cares? The screws from on top going into that 1x4 have also been covered with wood putty and painted over, so you can't even see where they were now. Well, sort of, maybe a little bit. And of course I painted over the Teflon paste that is surrounding the eye bolts. It has been 90 all day long, but I did manage to, earlier today around noon, get the hatch door out here, get it hooked up to the house. As you can see, the rubber flashing is back over where the hinges mount to the house. Then I went downstairs and I did my counterweights, got them together, came out here close to sunset, strung it all up. Does it work? Let's take a look. Oh, come on. Come on. All right. I made some adjustments here. Basically on the right side here, I moved this stuff over to this side. I also moved that pulley over a little bit this way. But everything is now evenly spaced. It is a truer mirror image on both sides. Look at that. Look at that. Listen to that. All the way down, all the way up. Oop, hit something somewhere. Okay, hold on. Yeah, oh man. Little lubrication made a ton of difference. Now it opens real quiet. Okay, there's that. Let's go. We're like full open here. Counterweights are down to the ground. And oh yeah, one hand, silent, no effort, no wobbling, all the way closed. All it took was a little lubrication. Somebody had commented wondering if these were hitting the side of the house, and they're not. The eye bolts, one of them on each side, go way out there so that it holds them, you know, you can see there's a couple inches gap there. So these are not dragging on the side of the siding. If they were, they would be pulling the siding right off the house. But anyway, let's do this again. Ooh, look at how easy. Yeah, they bang and stuff once they hit the limestone down here. But that's fine. Oh, there we go. Oh man, so easy. Oh my god, you guys. I feel so much better about this whole project now. I was worried I really screwed up the design. Now I love it. You know, I know there's people out there who don't like the way this looks, and oh, that looks hideous and this is just garbage. I think it's fun, and if it worked as well as it is now, I have no apologies for this at all now. So there we go.